This week, we're going to look at the NBA betting scandal through the lens of compliance. We're going to begin part one with an introduction. Compliance Tip of the Day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. And now I'd like to say a few words about the latest podcast on the Compliance Podcast Network, AI Today in 5 with 5. Thrilled to announce the inaugural episode of my latest podcast series, AI Today in 5. I wanted to do a short, curated set of stories and news stories about AI for the compliance professional and the greater business professional. You can check it out on Megaphone, the Compliance Podcast Network, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple, or wherever great podcasts are listened to. Check out AI Today in 5. So what is the NBA betting scandal, and why is this an existential crisis for not simply the NBA, but for all professional sports in America? We're going to explore that question, but start with an introduction to it today. In the world of professional basketball, and indeed almost all sports, few things cut deeper than a betrayal of trust. Fans expect grit, competition, and authenticity, not a rigged game. But recently, the DOJ unsealed an indictment which shook the National Basketball Association to its core. Current and former players, along with associates and a sitting head coach, stand accused of running an insider betting ring built upon confidential medical information and lineup information. For compliance professionals, this is more than a sports story. It is a real-time study in the integrity risk, insider information abuse, and a governance failure. It demonstrates how arrogance, blindness, and even incompetence can blindside any organization. This week, we're going to take a deep dive into not only who was involved, but what they did, and how these ethical breakdowns can corrupt a corporate organization, and how all of these found their way into America's one of America's most celebrated sports leagues. In terms of the individuals involved, the player is Mike Rozier, who's alleged to have pulled himself out of games and told people in the gambling industry so that they could bet prop bets on him on the under. We'll go into more detail on that later. The second was Damon Jones, who was associated. He had been an assistant coach and former player in the league, played basketball at the University of Houston, but was with the Los Angeles Lakers and gave out confidential information, medical information about LeBron James and his playing status. LeBron James is not implicated in any of these. And one of the most troubling is Chauncey Billups, a former NBA Finals MVP, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, and the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. He's alleged to have indicated that he was going to be either pulling his starters early or holding them back in an effort to tank games to improve the draft position of the Portland Trail Blazers, but that information was given to betting persons who then took advantage of it. All of this sounds very suspiciously like insider trading on insider information or material non-public information. So if it sounds familiar, there is a very good reason for this. As I mentioned, the use of this information demands a hard reset by the NBA. It's not going to be enough to suspend players or ban bettors. The league must confront questions about compliance, data ethics, and the duty of care owed by players and coaches as fiduciaries of the sport's reputation. Interestingly, this leads to our three key takeaways for today, which are just that: corporate governance, data analytics, and the fiduciary duty around inside information. And I'm happy to do for you, the compliance profession, is if you have a question or a series of questions you would like some compliance tips on, I'm happy to take any requests that you might want, certainly anonymize them, and give you a quick tip, either one quick tip or maybe a week's worth of quick tips. So if you have any tips you want about your compliance program, you can shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This podcast was created and produced